Star Station 2. RCMSAR is a Royal Canadian Marine Search and Rescue. That's a volunteer agency, so everybody that's working there is a volunteer. They're a highly trained group of volunteers, and following them is Kits 1. So we have the 2 vessels from the Kits Coast Guard base here. Interesting fact about the Laredo Sound is at the national level, she is unique in the Coast Guard in that she is the only one of her class in all of Canada. It's a very popular class of search and rescue vessel down in the United States for law enforcement and Coast Guard work, but it didn't fit most of the Canadian Coast Guard's requirements. Unfortunately, the other classes of search and rescue vessels were not appropriate for the local waters, and the fact that we have year-round search and rescue and boating, unlike the parts of the eastern Canada that freeze up. So the Laredo Sound is a one-off, so that makes her very unique. She's about 43 feet long and about 1,800 horsepower. She's very fast, good for all sea weather conditions. And because her and RCMSAR Station 1, RCMSAR Station 2 boats are both jet boats, there's no dangerous propellers for when you're working around people. The worst case scenario, what you'll do is you'll just push them away with a jet of water. So they're highly maneuverable, quite safe to operate around. So we see here RCMSAR 2 is coming in. The lookout on the bow is directing the coxswain to where the casualty is. Now the reason they do these interagency training and casualty transfers is quite often RCMSAR or other agencies such as the Port Authority will be just by proximity, will be the first people on the scenes. But we don't have the training or the capacity for first aid care that the Coast Guard has. So we'll recover a casualty and then at the first opportunity trade it off to a higher standard of care. And that's what they're going to demonstrate here. So SAR 2 is going to pull up and they're going to use what's called a parbuckling net. So instead of grabbing that poor feller by his arms and dragging him over the side, they're going to roll him up into that net. And of course that guy's doing a good job of playing dead and not being very helpful. It's a realistic training scenario. Like I said, remember the RCMSAR crew are all volunteers. They are highly trained. They have several standards of training and it takes years to become a vessel coxswain there or a team member. If you are interested in becoming an RCMSAR member, there's a number of stations in the Greater Lower Mainland. They can be found online. If you live within 15 minutes of one of the SAR stations and are interested, it might be worth looking at. And here they come. They're going to roll them up onto the deck. Doesn't look terribly comfortable, but there's no stress put on the body that way. If he had a back injury or a head injury, he's reasonably protected. So he's halfway there. Noticing they're doing their best to handle him gently, because they might not know the circumstances by which that person ended up in the water. Well, they're halfway done to the rescue. They're going to recover the parbuckling net. Now they're going to rendezvous with the Laredo Sound, which is going to simulate coming in after the fact for a casualty transfer. And while that's happening, like I said, if you look out, there's an orange high-speed open rib. That's a rigid hull inflatable. That's Kits 1. That's a high-speed small response craft based out of Kitsilano. While that transfer is going on, if we look here at the Pacific Sentinel is one of Western Canadian Marine Recovery Corporation. That's a pollution control vessel. WCMRC has pollution response vessels based all the way up and down the BC coast. And any foreign flag ship that are trading within Canadian waters, if they're coming to the West Coast, they have to have a spill response contract in place, which means they have to have an agreement in place with a company like WCMRC before their ship can come into Canadian waters. That's one of the measures to keep certain that